American people are demanding that we change the fiscal direction of our national government, but I got to tell you, I learned a long time ago, things don't change here in Washington, D.C. until they have to. We've got to say to Harry Reid and liberals in the Senate, this far and no farther. We got to borrow a line from another Harry and say the debt stops here. You know, and if liberals in the Senate would rather play political games and shut down the government instead of making a small down payment on fiscal discipline and reform, I say, shut it down.
Shut it! Cut it or 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 shut it!
Shut it down. You know, nobody wants the government shut down, but if we don't take a stand, we're going to shut down the future for our children and grandchildren.
That's right. That's right.
And make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
This is a defining moment for the new majority in Congress. Not that $61 billion in cuts is anything to write home about. It's actually just a down payment. Maybe it's just earnest money on restoring fiscal discipline. But it's a start. And it's a first step. And it'll be a first win for taxpayers that could set the stage for larger victories on battling against the debt ceiling increase without fundamental reform, battling for a budget and a long-term vision for fiscal discipline, and setting our nation back on the pathway toward constitutional limited government.
Amen.
You know, sometimes even small steps boldly taken can change history. Like it did on Christmas night, 1776. A harsh winter storm had settled in the Delaware River Valley. Public support for the war was waning. The troops were wearied and demoralized. And a general conceived of a bold and daring plan. He would pick a fight in the dead of night. Take it directly to the victory in Trenton was not a great battle. It was a battle of great consequence. History records that it was a defining moment in our still young nation. That small victory wrought by the Continental Army showed that victory was within our reach. That the Americans were still willing to fight. It rekindled the fire of independence and set the stage for larger victories to follow. Now today our struggle is not against an implacable enemy, and we will not here compare military contests with political debates. But the principle is the same. By picking a fight and winning this one small step toward fiscal discipline in Washington, D.C., the American people will see that victory over deficits and debt is within our reach. That we can fight and we can win and we can restore limited government at the national level.
And Harry Reid thinks you're the problem.
We're extreme.
I think those cowboy poetry festivals are the problem. What do you think? Well, I'm so glad to see your faces, and it's so wonderful to see that all of you are still fighting. There are people here in Washington, D.C. who thought after the November election that you were all going to go home and go back to sleep. Is that true? No! You're revved up, you're fighting, in fact, what I have seen across America is you're paying more attention now than ever. Because you have an investment in what is happening in Washington, D.C. You made the difference. Yes! You knocked on doors. You made phone calls. You donated to campaigns. You sent your voice to Washington, D.C., and you expect that your voice will be heard. Yes! And I agree with you.
We're still
Well, it's no surprise to me, and I think no surprise to you, that the powers that be here in Washington, D.C., specifically in the White House, have been wrong about a few things.
A few?
Wrong about everything.
A lot of things.
Wrong. You can always count on a Tea Partier to get it right. Well, remember they had a promise? They promised that we would see unemployment price of your health insurance premium by $2,500 per household. Were they right?
No!
No. We've seen increases 20%, 40%, in some cases even higher. Well, 2 for 2, they're not doing real well. Then we were promised that this would be the most transparent Congress. Oh, I think you have an opinion. Is that right?
3 strikes, you're out.
And then they forgot to tell us this little fact that there was $105 billion buried in the Obamacare legislation. Have they been transparent? Okay, that's 3 for 3. How about this promise? President Obama promised when he was running for the White House that he would make energy prices necessarily skyrocket. Has he kept that promise?
Yeah!
Yes, he has. He's getting his wish. This is exactly what the president was hoping. We've got gas at $4 a gallon. And we know that his energy secretary, while the president was running for office, was reported to have said, we've got to make the price of energy here in the United States the same as in the United Kingdom or in the European countries, which at that time was approximately $8 a gallon. Would you like that?
No!
Well, that's their plan. That's their plan.
Let them move there then.
Ah, okay, let them move there. Would that be an idea? Maybe we need to send a change of address form to 1600 Pennsylvania.
I've got one.
Well, I think that you have made it abundantly clear. Stop spending money you don't have. Right? But President Obama doesn't seem to get it. The big spenders, they don't seem to get it. We're headed for an annual deficit this year bigger than anything we've ever seen, and we've had a couple whoppers in the last 2 years. We had $1.4 trillion. We had $1.3 trillion. Does anyone know what it'll be this year? $1.65 trillion. And every year going forward until 2020, over $1 trillion. Is this the hope and change we were hoping for?
No!
Who's ready for true hope and change?
We are!
Naive freshman
I like
who came here to get things done. I don't want to stay here my entire life. I'm a term limit guy. I sleep on my couch. We don't have a lot of time. I turned down my health benefits. I turned down my pension benefits. I came here naively because I wanted to play my role in saving this country for our kids and our parents. But you know what? Here's what most politicians never understand. The world didn't start with them. This movement to take back this country didn't start with them. It started with you. It will grow with you. It will succeed with you. We don't have a lot of time. Pat your House Republicans on the back when you can. Tell us good job, but you know what? Have the boot ready. Pat us on the back. We're doing this the best we can, but have that boot ready. And have that boot ready to put that boot somewhere where the sun doesn't shine. Keep us going. We do not have a lot of time, folks. Keep the pressure on us, and we will do right by you. God bless. Thank you all for coming out.
2012 could be our last chance to get it right. And we are not going to get it right unless Americans rise up, stand up, speak out on every street corner across the country as you have been doing. And we need to invite you to invite many, many others to come out, let their voices be heard, because we can win this thing. There are many good freedom solutions. This is not a doomsday scenario for America. We can solve our problems, but only if we get people who understand that this country runs on principles of freedom, not on the government controlling every aspect of our lives. So folks, thanks for being here. Come back as often as you can.
The Tea Party's over.
He's over!
We've only just begun.
Hey, read over.
We've just begun to fight.
Anybody ever seen Harry Reid at a tea party?
Planning his retirement.
He's right over there, and I kid you not, I'm walking over there to sit down in his office with him. Let's hear a little noise to see if he can hear us in his office.